Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Man, it's been a live week. I'm so glad to be back. You're listening to WVOX at Whitney Global Media Station. My name is Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, New York, and the name of our show is What Happened Here. And we have a big issue to unpack with what happened here on the Oscars with Will Smith smacking the out of Chris Rock. The call-in number is 914-636-0110. Our guest today on 1460 on your AM dial and worldwide at WVOX.com. Our guest today is the Reputation Doctor, Mike Paul, who is going to talk with us about what happened here with Will Smith and the situation at the Oscars, the fallout for Will Smith, what it means. And there's a lot to get into, a lot to discuss. So many questions to unpack. As much as I would like to talk about President Biden and his comments that he walked back, saying that Putin does not belong in power, I can tell you right now that that there's a lot to unpack with Will Smith smacking Chris Rock and what it means. And on the line is our guest, Mike Paul, the Reputation Doctor. He is a public relations, reputation, corporate communications, crisis management, litigation support, PR expert known worldwide by the registered brand of the Reputation Doctor. You can find him online. You can find him right here, right now on What Happened Here. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
Oh man, never a dull moment. I can tell you that there's a lot going on with the Will Smith drama. That a lot of people have mixed feelings on it.
Well, I know both of them. I know some folks at the Academy, and listen, my phone blew up the minute the slap happened.
Oh my goodness! So walk us. Let's go through for those that don't know or did not hear or they felt the rumblings of the smack heard around the world. If you can just walk everybody up to that moment, what happened. So Chris Rock takes the stage and then he starts talking. What happened?
So, first of all, Will is married to Jada Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Pickett Smith is her full name, and has a very cropped haircut right now because she suffered from alopecia, which is a skin disease that affects both men and women. She's spoken about it publicly recently. Not everyone knows that, though. It's not something that is known by every person, and there are people who are unsure whether Chris Rock knew that. Before he decided to make a joke about her hair being so closely cropped as being a G.I. Jane 2 opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
for which the movie was made about an actress who was had her head shaved to be in basic training like men in the armed forces. It's a sensitive issue for the family, not just Jada, but for Will. Chris Rock has made in past jokes about Jada Pinkett Smith. One joke was back in 2016, and Will Smith initially laughed at the joke, then saw his wife was very uncomfortable with being the target of something that's sensitive to her, and he quickly strutted down the stage of the Academy Awards with millions and millions of people watching worldwide. Chris Rock had his hands behind his back with a little bit of nervous laughter, saying, "Uh-oh, here he comes." And he even leaned in, thinking he was going to whisper something to him. And then he smacked him very hard across the face.
Yeah, Will Smith. Yeah, Will Smith. Okay.
On national TV across the state, and then strutted off the stage and sat down next to his wife. When Chris then told the world, just in case you didn't see it, I just got smacked by Will Smith on national TV, Will went further and cursed him out using the F word to keep his wife blank
Name.
your mouth,
Right.
name out of your mouth, and repeated it when he said, hey, it was a G.I. Jane joke. And he repeated it again afterwards on live TV. It was censored in the United States, but quickly, within seconds, was seen on social media
Around the world.
Who did not censor it. That's right.
Right. So that's what happened. Now, what's happening as a result? I mean, Will Smith built up, 3 decades of goodwill, and in 30 seconds, is all that goodwill gone?
Well, let me give a little bit further information with the big dual point before we get into that. So,
Okay.
Second, they quickly went to a commercial break. Only about a minute or so later, he was consoled by stars like Denzel Washington and others who came up to him and said, "Hey, basically, the devil comes after you when you're this high. So be careful, watch yourself."
Mm-hmm.
No one at that point had consoling Chris, by the way. In fact, the reason why he was not taken out, people thought he might have been escorted out after assaulting a fellow actor on stage. But Will was due to win the Academy Award only minutes later, literally like 2 or 3 minutes later, of which he did. He had another break just before that commercial break. He decided not to apologize to Chris. In fact, he doubled down during his acceptance speech, apologized to everyone, Chris,
Mm-hmm.
the Academy,
Mm-hmm.
to the Smith family, to the Williams family, and to others. And people were shocked that he did not realize that he had to apologize directly to the person of which he committed an assault.
So, here's the situation. So I literally walked out of the room when right before the smack happened. I was putting my kids to bed. And then when I came back to watch the rest of the Oscars, it was like that moment leading up to Will Smith about to win. So I am that person that did not see or hear or check my phone. I walked in and I saw his acceptance speech, and I was just kind of like, that was kind of strange. I guess he was overly emotional and just totally didn't, know what to say because it's been 30 years in the making. And then I saw Serena and Venus, and I'm saying to myself, why do they look stunned? Like, shouldn't they be smiling and shouldn't they be happy that this happened? And so I totally missed the smack.
But you
Oh no! I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning. Yeah, I woke up the next morning. I'm like, what is going on here? Like my Twitter is like 40 messages down. I click on one from Preet Baraha, and he says, "What happened here?" And I'm like, "What happened?" So I found out from the former U.S. attorney, Preet, his tweet got me into that rabbit hole, and I'm like, "Whoa!" So then comes the conversation. Then the Today Show comes on, and everybody's talking about it. I'm like, "Wow, how did I miss that?" So quickly everybody's taking sides. Everybody's saying Chris was wrong or Smith was wrong. But so who was right? Who was wrong?
that most people might be shocked at.
Tell me. Tell us.
People in the audience who are fellow actors would shock disbelief. In fact, on social media, there's a photo of about 16 different actors all at once, totally shocked, and not happy.
Well, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to hold that thought. We're going to commercial break. When we come back from break, I promise you, we are going to get right back to where we left off of what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock at the Oscars. Don't change that dial.
What?
Let's go. So thank you everybody for joining. Um, while we are on commercial break, I'm going to talk through some of this. And for those that are watching on YouTube and Facebook, I hope the feed is coming through clear because for some reason my camera is not letting me show what's going on here in studio. So I have a picture up of me and a picture up of our guest, And I just want to make sure you each know that I'm live in studio, but for some reason it is not letting me switch the frame. So just hang tight and know that we are here. We're live. I hope the sound is good on. No sound again on Instagram. Lord. All right, hold on, guys. I'm going to turn the Instagram feed off, and I'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Tell me if you can hear me as you join. Hello, hello. Tell me if you can hear me on Instagram. Can you hear? Can you hear? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to WVOX, a Whitney Global Media station. My name is Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, and we're here. You're listening to What Happened Here on 1460 on your AM dial and worldwide at WVOX.com. You can call in at 914-636-0110, but we are talking through and talking about what happened here with Will Smith smacking Chris Rock at the Oscars with the Reputation Doctor. Reputation Doctor Mike Paul. He is a top strategic public relations, reputation, corporate communications, crisis management, and litigation support PR expert known under the registered brand of Reputation Doctor. Reputation Doctor Mike Paul, before we went to break, you were just about to lay out, what it means and what the reactions were by numerous stars that were in the audience that just witnessed Will Smith smack Chris Rock on stage. Can you bring us back? Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 minutes earlier, he's an actor on stage, and he wins the Academy Award for Best Actor in a movie, and the entire place is standing and giving him applause and hugging him. Jim Carrey, most recently yesterday, is one of the only actors, at least publicly, who went on TV and said, "What spineless colleagues I have in Hollywood. It was absolutely inappropriate. We have children around the world who are watching the Academy Awards. Chris Rock also had children who are watching and seeing their father's face get smacked by a fellow actor. No security pulled him out. No accountability yet. And what we're expecting soon is the Academy is investigating it. The SAG union is also investigating it. We believe there's going to be severe consequences. It might not be as severe as pulling Oscar,
Mm-hmm.
but he might be banned from the ceremony for a year or two, and he might have to pay a severe fine that might go to a charity that even deals with how to handle violence in our society. But we're waiting to see what the Academy is going to have as a punishment, because many Academy members, quite frankly, many of them older and white, and yet race is a part of this, we'll get into that, are thinking of their own reputation as a body first, before that of Will Smith.
Well, speaking about the Oscars and the Academy, how come they did not do a better job at trying to put structure around, a situation like this? How come the Academy did not say to their hosts, look, it's their night. The people that are sitting up front in the audience, some of them may win, some of them may not win. Let's not joke about them. Let's joke about something else. Why would the Academy enable or, encourage their hosts to attack and ridicule, humiliate personally people that they know they have personal problems with? How come the Academy didn't do that? Tell me what the no, no, so let's unpack it, because that's what the audience is asking online.
Not that. The opposite question is, when another human being in any venue and entertainment anywhere in the world, in a nightclub, in a comedy club, in any other venue, gets on stage, you can't go to a concert anywhere in the world, get on stage and not have a security stop you before you even get close enough
Mm-hmm.
to anyone else when you're not supposed to be there. Actually kiss them, you're instantly thrown out of any venue of any kind in the world. That's the problem that the Academy has to deal with. And the short answer is, it was politics, it was business. What do I mean by that?
So
They knew that there was an envelope only 3 minutes later. That obviously the Academy knows who the winner is. You don't know.
right,
But
right,
the Academy knows who won.
right.
The man who is getting the award 3 minutes later is on stage. Do we pull him out? Is it going to be a bigger scene politically with all the racial situations that are in our country? Do we manhandle with security a black man who is the best actor? Are all the other people that are involved
They froze.
well, not that they froze, they chose to not do so.
They chose to just let it go. They chose to let it go and just let it ride, because is it all publicity is good publicity? Is it ratings? Or they just basically said,
No.
we're just going to let this go because we don't know what to do. So we're just going to act as if nothing happened, and then we're going to deal with it after it's over. Is that basically, I mean, that's what happened, obviously, right?
And make sure anyone who's listening understands
Mm-hmm.
is lie, that all publicity is true publicity. Understand the value of a reputation. Every single day, we have stories of elected officials, of actors, of athletes, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
every
Mm-hmm.
do wrong. So I would be out of my profession if that were true, right? The reason why there is a reputation doctor, the reason why there is a profession called crisis PR, which, by the way, we bill out higher than high-priced defense attorneys. The reason why that is true is because there's value in what we do, and we have to counsel our clients who get in these situations. Sometimes it's an individual, sometimes it's a major organization or a corporation. That being said, Will Smith is in crisis. That being said, the Academy Awards and the Academy, the institution, is also in crisis.
Okay.
Most people believe they didn't handle it well. Their own members are telling them they didn't handle it well. They're seeking an accountability to make sure another actor cannot go to a stage and hit another actor in future.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to talk about that accountability when we come back from break. You're listening to What Happened Here on WVOX. Do not change that dial. We'll be right back after this quick short break. Hello, everybody on Instagram and online. I hope you can hear me. It looks like the YouTube feed and the Facebook feed is still going strong. I hope you guys can see and hear what's going on and what happened here. On Instagram, sound is good. Somebody give me a thumbs up or some reaction that the sound is good on Instagram. We had a problem with the sound before and I had to come back and do, a reload of it. But I hope that the sound is good on Instagram. Okay, I see. I improvised and shocked even the audience. All right, there we go. Sound is good. So look, this is a hot topic, and we're gonna keep unpacking it with the reputation doctor, who has a real clear grip on this. But I think that there's going to be some pushback when we get back from break on who's really accountable and who's responsible for what happened here at the Oscars. I think that there's um, a real opportunity for both Smith and Rock to emerge out of crisis. But let's see what the reputation doctor has to say. If you have any questions, put them online. Let us know. Let me know. I'll give them to the reputation doctor, and we'll get into it. Oh man. And I hope I mean, I see YouTube and Facebook live. I see a lot of people online watching right now. My screen appears to be frozen. I definitely hope that the stream is still going through everybody that's watching online. So just hang in there and know that I'm definitely hoping that the feed is all right on YouTube and Facebook. Details. Here we go. All right, everybody. It looks like it's going to keep my picture up, which is good. I'm fine with that, but it's not letting me show. Oh man, Bruce Willis. I don't know what aphasia is, but Bruce Willis, man, the king of Christmas, action Christmas. All right, we're coming back from break. Everybody, here we come. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Yes, Westchester County in the vicinity for today. It was mostly cloudy skies, chance of a shower. Highs will climb in.
No.
Dark comedians and political comedians. Um, it's just Will Smith is clearly not a comedian.
No, he
Covered his flag before he went up there.
yeah, I think he truly snapped and lost perspective.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah, I used to do stand up. I know, nothing's off limit when it comes to comedians. Nothing when it comes to
we're gonna pick that up.
With Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You are listening to WVOX, a Whitney Global Media station. My name is Rich Thomas. You're listening to What Happened here on WVOX 1460 on your AM dial, and we're here every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on 1460, also on WVOX.com. The mission of this show is to ask the question of what happened here? What happened with the situation that's trending in the news, something that's possibly unpopular. But we unpack the issue so that our listeners, our viewers, those on the radio and online can get at the facts and determine what is true. And what we know is on the phone we have Mike Paul, president of Reputation Doctor LLC. He is a top strategic public relations, reputation, corporate communications, crisis management, and litigation support PR expert known worldwide as the Reputation Doctor. Mike, Paul, the Reputation Doctor. Before we went to break, we were going through what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock and the fallout following the situation at the Oscars.
Yeah. So on stage, everyone but Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And the next you start thinking about, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Chris Rock is also thinking, how do I handle this? Thus far, he has said nothing. He's letting all the attention go to Will Smith. And Will Smith's phone starts blowing up, I'm told by insiders.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be accountability. The Academy is going to investigate you, and you better do something more. Suddenly, he decides that he wants to put a written statement together that specifically focuses on Chris. And he apologizes to Chris in a written statement. My phone then blows up, and media around the world, including in the United States, is calling me to come on TV to say, did he do the right thing? And here's what I said yesterday in many interviews. If he were my client, if Will Smith were my client, I would have told him to not release a written statement until after he met one-on-one with Chris Rock specifically and individually for at least an hour. Because the definition of a true apology, a sincere apology, is to go directly to the person of which you allegedly harmed and seek to make amends to repair the damage that was done, not in words, but in both words and action. This is heart work more than head work. It takes a vulnerability to do so. It takes courage to do so. And by the way, half of the apology is for you to hear out what Chris has to say.
So let
Denied that opportunity,
so let
you only have a written apology, even a video apology.
let's pause right there for a moment and let's go in sequence. So next day he gives a written apology.
Yep.
Was there any outreach or any effort to try and meet with Chris at the Oscars, after the Oscars, where Will Smith, we saw a party online? Was there an effort by Will to try and go to Chris's house? I mean, he has a jet. If Rock jetted to New York, Will could have easily jetted to New York to kind of follow him. But the question is, there was no effort to meet with him personally and give him any kind of embrace. Is that what not happened? That did not happen, right? By
Well,
Will?
let me give you the facts. One of the biggest parties afterwards was the Vanity Fair party right after the awards.
Mm-hmm.
Will goes to celebrate. Chris ends up going to a different party. Puffy, though, says, hey, the two of them, the same night, made amends.
Okay.
My sources tell me that was absolutely, positively not true. Chris had not spoken to or seen Chris, at least up to that date. 24 hours later, there was no communication and no face-to-face, no hug, no nothing. Puffy was making stuff up.
So why would Puff do that? Yeah, why would Puff do that?
because all these guys have egos, right? What do you expect?
I mean, Cliff's from Mount Vernon too, and so is Denzel, who has the most brilliant. Yeah,
This is what I do.
mm-hmm.
I picked out the fact. I also told Denzel, listen, you're bringing in God into this conversation. That maybe because he was so high up, the devil's trying to bring him down. I know what Denzel's wife said to him. Number one, what are you injecting yourself into this for? Number two, that's incorrect. It's not biblical. He's supposed to do, humble himself, and go and meet with Chris one-on-one, make amends for what he did, whether you like what Chris said or not. When we teach even our children, a 5-year-old, I have a 5-year-old, and they kids are. I don't want to hear that somebody else pulled somebody else's hair first, or there was a situation that made me do it. That's not an apology.
But what if Chris doesn't want to meet with Will, and what if Chris doesn't want to accept an apology?
Well, that's a situation that would have to come. That has not happened yet. I know Chris. I think if Will humbly said, loan 101 with our security outside the door,
Yeah.
sure that there's no paparazzi and anything else, but speak privately. And he sincerely, look, Chris knows Will along.
Yeah, these are two legends. Two legends.
That has gone back a long time. If Will were to sit down and ask him, I believe Chris would accept the opportunity to hear him out. He doesn't have to decide, by the way, in the minute and the instant that he accepts it. He might even simply say, I just want to think through a little bit. A lot has happened over the past couple of days. I'll be back in touch with you. He could say, man, it's over. Thank you for being man enough to come see me.
Yeah.
Now, you're mentioning something before about what comedians do.
I'm listening.
Famous understands this. Number one, these award shows for decades have had hot shots like this, and everyone of every color, of every gender, of every background, it's what they do. Are you prepared as an actor
To control your reaction.
to handle it differently later? As you said, these are two people that have tremendous wealth and tremendous needs.
Mm-hmm.
If you get around, don't get a message to you to say, hey, we'll need you to know it was extremely expensive, his wife's upset, yes, she should be able to, and we should be able to maybe handle it differently. You don't know what she went through even this week with her alopecia. Alopecia is a skin disease. Most people don't even understand it. It's worthy of any listener to look it up. But that still has nothing to do. My counsel to Will is, let's not make this about Jada. In the moment, you lost your cool and you decided to handle it with all due respect in a street way. Yeah, I said it, on national TV with an open hand slap with two black men in tuxedo, children watching, with elders watching, with your mother watching, and your young kids.
Who she sent to Bel Air.
For your action.
Right.
This is about Chris. This isn't about Jada. This is about you. And by the way, you made it about you. You had an opportunity to do something else. Well, Mike, what would your advice have been and how to best handle it? I'm going to send you a tape of a Supreme Court justice candidate and how her husband handled, much worse than that, by hugging and consoling and loving his wife, which you should have done, but instead you decided to go with violence.
Oh, we're going to talk about that violence when we come back from break. Do not change that dial. You're listening to WVOX, the Whitney Global Media Station. Yeah. You should have hugged it out. So we on break. Listening to the Reputation Doctor talk about how to fix the situation between Will Smith and Chris Rock. Look, when we come back from break, we need to talk through in this final break, this final segment, a couple of things. One, there's a group of people out there, including Tiffany Haddish, who said she's so happy to see a black man send for a black woman. And then there's another group of people out there that says this is totally wrong and should not have happened this way, as you're hearing from the Reputation Doctor. And, there are going to be views on both sides. So when we come back from break, we're going to quickly unpack, how it should have been handled. We know it wasn't handled that way, so we're going to skip right to the violence and get back into the question of, is there a path to repair? Because it doesn't look like Will is going to apologize to Chris in person anytime soon. And if they do meet up and if they do facilitate that apology, what can we expect from Chris Rock, from his tour, where he's going to go and talk about all the different things on his ego death tour that he's doing, starting in the next couple of weeks. So it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a great way to finish this show, because what happened here is wow. Yo, D-Tech man, I owe you a call. I owe you some coffee. I owe you some tea. I owe you a drink. My brother D-Tech know that I did not forget about you, bro. I've been juggling a lot of different things these past few weeks, but it's all love. D-Tech, I'm gonna give you a shout, bro. So make sure you answer my call when I call, bro. And we about to come back from break. Oh no, we not. We got a couple more moments. Yeah, no, I'm just making sure. I thought I saw that. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Now, also on the news, the White House asking for more more COVID funding. And COVID is still here, y'all. Don't sleep on it. It is still here. And Jon Stewart, I gotta watch him on Apple TV Plus. I miss him on TV, but I do find it amazing that that his show is very similar to mine. Called his called The Problem With, mine is What Happened. So look at that, man. Great minds think alike. Hang on. I can't hear you. Oh no. I think we got a caller. Oh, Chris is on the line. Okay, but I also have Mike. All right, cool. If you could just if you could just mention to the caller, just that he has to hold for a second because I need Mike to say something, and then I'm gonna bring him on. All right, cool. Here we go. We're coming back from break. Get ready. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Sounds so good. Here we go.
With Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to WVOX, a Whitney global media station. We're here every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on What Happened Here, where we ask the question of what happened here. Today's topic is what happened with Will Smith smacking Chris Rock at the Oscars. On the line, we have the Reputation Doctor Mike Paul, president of Reputation Doctor LLC. He is a top strategic public relations, reputation, corporate communications, crisis management, and litigation support PR expert known as the Reputation Doctor. And before we went to break, we were talking about the violence, how the situation should have been handled. Mr. Paul summarized that he being Will Smith, should have hugged it out with his wife Jada and should not have stormed the stage, smacked Chris Rock, and should not have screamed profanities from the audience. Now, there's groups of people out there, including Tiffany Haddish, who said she thought it was beautiful. She saw it as a black man defending his wife, where black women have been ridiculed, humiliated, and attacked, and it's been normalized. And she felt that it was not normal, it had to stop, and she supported Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. Many others have chimed in, and I saw a poll that said even Trump supporters support Will Smith's smack of Chris Rock for the disrespect. But we know that's not how it is supposed to be handled. If anything should have been handled backstage, it should have been handled in a totally different setting, which I agree with. But I will say, Reputation Dr. Paul, I'm in the camp of it should have been handled backstage. It should have been handled off air. And if Chris and Will got emotional and passionate, then that happened backstage off camera and could have been something totally between them. But since it happened on stage on full display, what's the path forward? Because it looks like Chris Rock has not officially accepted a sit down with Will Smith. So
No. To have a sit down with Will Smith,
Will Smith has to ask. So Will hasn't asked yet. Yeah, Will has not asked.
tell you before,
Got two callers.
Tiffany Haddish,
Mhm.
who I also know has her own issues. She was standing here today, I'd say, Tiff, with all due respect, you're wrong. We can sit down and talk about it. We can go through a counseling session to discuss it. Some of your old stuff is bubbling up, and you have not had, like Will, a parent who was able to teach you how to handle this the right way.
Mm-hmm.
The hood response, the street response, is not the correct answer. She's learning that now with feedback that she's getting from people who are working on projects that she's on. So that's a side issue. If Will was sitting here, I would say, Will, you can't give advice to others when you're still suffering from your own pain of your past. You can put a book out, you can have quotes, you handled this absolutely inappropriately, certainly not godly. God requires you to go and own your stuff and meet with Chris directly. We can talk about the PR aspect, do something authentic, rebuild back the currency most important, which is trust. Be a real man and be vulnerable, courageous, and show your emotional intelligence by saying to Chris eye to eye, face to face, heart to heart, I messed up, I'm sorry. In my weakness,
Keep going.
I chose violence. In my weakness, I did wrong. It's on Chris to then decide
How to handle it,
he
how to
wants
respond.
to say.
Yeah.
He could say, I went too far. He could say whatever he wants. That should not change how Will owns his stuff. We teach children this. We as men need to understand that we stink at emotional intelligence and we need to be learning these skills.
I can
Hey, you know what I do?
tell me.
Say, usually very powerful men, emotional intelligence. That's the secret sauce of my business.
We're going to have to pour out more of that sauce because there's so many questions on this topic, and I know you're in demand, and I know you're running down on time, and I know we have Carlos on the line, which I'll take after we wrap up. But I do want to add, let's just play this out. Will Smith still has not officially publicly asked for that private sit down. Let's assume that he does. Let's assume that it happens. After that happens, let's just put aside how Chris Rock responds for a moment. What's the path forward for Will in rebuilding trust with all the different constituencies that are offended by his reaction, his terrible reaction?
We might even have fallout from the academy before we have anything to do with Chris. He should be prepared that there's a consequence for his action within his profession as well. Everyone seeks to protect their own reputation first, usually before the reputation of any other, and brand, and financial know-how. So he should be prepared. He should be preparing his heart. He's going to get hit. Going to hit with a punishment very soon. You're supposed to have the punishment. The question is, how do you handle it?
That's right. That's right. Well, Reputation Doctor, I know you're running down on time. There are two people on the line that want to ask a question. I don't know. Do you have an extra minute?
We can take one.
All right, let's go.
Take one.
Let's call her. You're on the line with the Reputation Doctor and Mayor Thomas.
Yeah, hi, quick question. Chris will do a mutual public apology to each other. Does that eliminate any further litigation? The court of public opinion is totally different than the court of law. That's a different analysis. I do not. The action is on tape, and the action will not be stopped by an apology if someone decides to sue.
Right.
But is there a possibility of a third party litigation here?
It could be.
I
But
think what we need to focus on, at least with me as a guest, who's not an attorney, is does Chris need to apologize? Here's the answer that I've already heard from the comedic world. Everybody of every kind, with every condition and every background, is a target for a comedian. Then the question is, where do you draw the line if you start saying, I can't talk about this and I can't talk about that? Dave Chappelle been through the same issue many times. Comedians are taught everybody is a target. And here's the most important part. Entertainers at the Academy Awards know, every single one of them, that they're going to be a target for potentially being hit with a comedic hit that they might not like. Will knew that. It's happened to Jada before. She knew that. They did not handle it well. Whether it was inappropriate, whether it was crass, whether it was a joke you didn't like is a different issue. The question is,
how to handle it.
should they have been prepared and been able to handle it? And that's where the healing that Jade is talking about needs to be focused.
Thank you for your call. Now, the time, I know we're running down on time. Do you have time for one more?
I can take one.
We got one more call. Next caller.
I'm enjoying the show.
Thank you, Vince.
Another rumor now that not many people talked about. Remember how it was said men should take the place of women, men should tell women what to do, and a lot of people recently said it's too chauvinistic and controlling for a man to decide how to defend a woman, like she can't do it herself. Now, it's old world kind of thinking for a guy to say, my wife or my girlfriend has been disrespected, now I'm going to go up and shoot somebody or slap them in the face or whatever. I wonder what my world has said about this. Well, let me tell you what the answer is. And I love the way you framed it. The operative question here is, what did Jada need in that moment? In the same way that I used the analogy of the Supreme Court justice candidate who was getting ripped to shreds, where there were many questions by Republicans. Well, the biggest problem is she can't define what a woman is. No. Listen to me. Oh, okay. That's very of a definition.
So as we get ready to wrap up, we're going to hold that music. No, but as we get ready to wrap up, there you go.
Take care of her. Hug her. Be there for her.
And that's where we're going to leave it. This was a great show. What happened here? I want to thank my guest, Mike Paul, the Reputation Doctor. You heard him lay out the path of what needs to happen here for true healing and reconciliation between Will Smith and Chris Rock, and also what needs to happen so we all can move on and know and teach our kids how to console, rebuild, and make sure we react appropriately when the pressure turns up. This has been a great show. Thank you so much, WVOX. You've been listening. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, and what would happen here.
North State's most influential station, 1460 WVOX, New Rochelle.
Help Ukraine, Elisa Brady, Fox News.